All right, welcome back to another episode. This is episode number 2 of 2025, and I'm your host, Cassondra Renee, for the Unlimited Groomer. And today I am really excited to have my friend and WINC mentor, Jill of all trades, queen of many, Chris Belin. She and I met. I talk about it mostly through my speaking engagements that I'm an active member of WINC, which is Women Inspired Through Networking and Collaboration. It was founded here by none other than, well, co-founded by Chris Belin, as well as Desiree Courier. And it started here in Buffalo and looking to expand, I believe. So if you're interested in that, reach out. I'll connect you with the right people. But it's an organization that really boosts women in business. Now, you don't necessarily have to be a business owner to be part of it, but it was a really great way for me as a fresh business in Buffalo, as a groomer, to start networking and meeting other people, especially because I do things very differently. And so one of the things we're going to touch on today is the importance of networking, which I correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure you've probably Chris is a master of networking, and I'm pretty sure you've probably never met another groomer at any networking event ever.
You're right.
Yeah. So it's a thing that we absolutely have to start doing as groomers, as a community. And then a couple of other things she's got going on. She is the owner of the Beauty Boost here in Buffalo, New York as well, which is another women in empowerment community, but not just for business owners. And of course, I sidled on over there and was like, let me check this out. And if you can relate as a business owner, you probably don't have as much free time as you would like. Therefore, your social life suffers. And for me, coming back to Buffalo, knowing that I was gone for 10 years and knowing that I needed to build a new community because I was not the same person as I was when I left. And it's like, love my old friends, they're gold, but also they're still partying till 4 a.m. and I can't do that as a business owner. So I needed a fresh start, but I still wanted community. And to be able to do that and learn and also network was fantastic. So the Beauty Boost, and that's nationwide. And then you're also a health coach. So we've got so much to talk about. This episode? Yep. Okay. Halfway through my first cup of coffee, so we're good. This episode should be rich with a bunch of goodies for you to improve on your health, your well-being, as well as your business's well-being for networking. So I'm really excited to get into it. Chris Belin.
Thank you so much. I'm super happy to be here with you and this unique opportunity to talk to the people who listen to you. So thank you so much.
Yeah, it's weird. People do listen to me. It's crazy.
I love it.
So, where would you like to get started? I'll give you the floor for that.
Okay, let's see. Well, this whole journey of being an entrepreneur was completely accidental. And it's funny because I started doing my own thing, which I've done a few things, obviously, about 15 years ago when I became a mom. And I desperately needed more flexibility because the career or the day job I had was not that. And I sort of blazed my own trail because I have to seriously tell you, and this sounds crazy, 15 years ago, women did not do the things women are doing now. Start their own business, start a side hustle, follow their passions, create something that brings an income in their spare time, if you will.
Yeah.
So I had zero resources, zero people to be inspired by or copy. I mean, truly, the only businesses that I saw women doing were like the very traditional, like restaurants, dry cleaners, direct sales. That's it. So I had to kind of blaze my own trail a little bit. And it's been a journey. But I will say that it is extremely important to find people who get that part of you because they're doing it too, because the support is like none other. You will have people in your life who don't understand what you're doing. And I had that. Luckily, I had pretty supportive people in my life, but I've talked to other women or men who started something and their family would not like their posts. Their family would not recommend them. Their family would not buy from them. And it's very disheartening. And so to be surrounded by the right people is crucial. So if you don't have them, you have to go find them. It's not always easy, but you have to figure out what's in your community that you can dial into to network, to make those connections, to collab with other business owners, to get the support, etc. So when I didn't see that in my community, I decided to create it. And that has got me where I am today, which is now running a business that sort of does that for women, whether you're in business or not. But, and I'm not saying like, if it doesn't exist, go make it. That's not for everybody, but you really have to dial in. And there are options in your community. If there isn't a networking group, there's a chamber group you can dial into. You just have to search, use Eventbrite, use Meetup, Google, you'll find it.
Yeah, and I'm so surprised that I didn't even think to use Eventbrite until now. Like that's one of my to-dos today or next week, to set up an account, because I just did the thing with our friend Christina this past week. And I'm like, wait, I have other classes that I'm teaching that are available to the local public. Like, why don't I do this? So groomers, the way you could parlay that is if you wanted to have an event at your salon, which I see a lot of people doing, or classes like that. One thing you said that I'm really happy you said is you're not saying if it doesn't exist, go create it, because that's not for everybody. I can't tell you how many times in my community I see groomers fed up with their employer or whatnot, and they decide to go and start their own business, which I get it. I'm with you. I am the worst employee because I will tell you why your business is wrong and I will fight you on it every time. Like I'm not a good employee, but it's not, business ownership is definitely not for the faint-hearted. And you see it every time. Within 2-3 months, they're like, I don't know, maybe I'm not cut out for this. And then they start second guessing their entire career as opposed to just business. So absolutely, like I'm big on inventory. Like, who am I as a person, and just kind of not making those quick jumps, because not everybody does well under pressure with no safety net. So when you are networking with other people, you're getting to hear those stories. So even if you haven't, and we've met several people through WINC and the Beauty Boost, they're like, I don't have my own business, but you ladies have inspired me. I'm considering maybe starting in First Thumb. Our friend MJ, been the best decision she ever could have made. Yeah. And for others, it's like, oh, you ladies got a lot going. No. Okay, not for me. So that's another really good thing to do for networking is if you are not in business for yourself yet, but you're considering it, go talk to other people who are doing it. Get offline. The social media groups are good for some things, but like get offline and actually go talk to people, because that's one of the things I have to say. I've met some of my recent best friends, you know, through your organizations, and we talk about the things that my best friends, they're like, yay, go do the thing, like, hooray. But also I've got my 9 to 5 and I'm happy and I'm safe, but I'll live vicariously through you. And then we're going out for coffee and we're talking about like, I don't know what the F, like we go to these networking events and we put on our best face. But what I really like, the direction that both of those two organizations have really focused on, or not focused, but like kind of pivoted towards, was like real talk. Like, what's your reality check? Like, actually, I'm having a really hard time with this. And it's taking off that mask of like, I'm in business and I do this and I'm wonderful, So tell me more about, let's talk about the Beauty Boost, since that's your a really big focus for you right now. How are you incorporating like community and kind of networking through that? Because it's natural the way we do it.
Yeah. Well, it's not a networking group, but low key is in any group networking. So being that the focus is health and wellness, events, fun, you're going to automatically have community built in, friendships occur, business relationships happen, etc. And it's funny because when I found out about the community, I really, as a health coach, I was excited about the opportunity to have fitness events and health and wellness events and talk to women about vision boards and put coaches in front of them that will help make their lives better. And I didn't even really see the community aspect of it. And what I see now, being in my third year, is that it is hard to make friends when you're an adult. We don't go to school every day and sit next to our friend and share crayons. We're not always necessarily making friends at work. So how do you do that? Especially if you're from another city, or maybe you just got divorced, or maybe you're retiring, or whatever it is. You're like, who are my friends? So that is very important to me now. And I see that now that I am a place where women can come and make friends. So I love that. And that's, my focus this year is to really dive in and figure out ways to like really connect women together. Is like a little awkward sometimes, but we can do it. So that's something I'm really excited about, especially since I keep hearing those stories. I met with a couple girls the other day, and one was like, so I'm divorced and I'm stuck in Buffalo now because I have a kid and I don't know anyone. Like, I can't imagine that. I've lived here my whole life. So I'm like, this is very important for her because it takes a village to raise kids and she needs support. So that's why she's involved. And yeah, so it's really, I take that very seriously, and I'm really happy to be the place for women to come and do that.
I love it. And, when I was going over my 2025 calendar, looking at like, okay, where's my time going? Where is travel taking me? Like work, all these things. And I made sure to go through the Beauty Boost events, to like put them in my calendar. And there are some that I'm like, yep, have to be at this one. That's non-negotiable for me. And there's others that like, you know what? It's fun. It's great, but it's an if I can make it.
Sure.
And what I really like about that is, especially in my industry, it's entirely unpredictable. Like that was one of the reasons I had such a hard time making my commitments as a WINC member, because being fear-free, I go at their pace, which could mean a 2-hour groom turns into a 3.5-hour groom if they need the rest and the breaks and all that. And so what I really, really like about the flexibility of the Beauty Boost is that, for those of you who don't know, you can join. It's only $99 for a year pass, which is, don't tell Rachel this, but like, it's stupid. Like she should definitely be charging more.
She knows. She wants groups like this to be affordable for everyone.
Yeah.
So it's a good value, but it's purposeful. So, the Beauty Boost, like Cassondra said, is all over the US. We're in 29 cities as of today. So you can literally go to thebeautyboost.net and find out what this is and dive into this community. You can even showcase your business if you want, or just go and make friends, have fun, get valuable information that improves your life, your self-care. Yeah, it is a very good deal. You're right.
Oh yeah. And because basically you can do a la carte events if you want, like you can search them out on Eventbrite and stuff. And I looked at it and there was a dinner I wanted to go to, and 3 dinners were included for the $99 deal, plus all the other events. And if I went to 2 dinners, it paid for everything. I was like, this is dumb. So I'm like, perfect. Okay. And it gave me that. I put it in my calendar because as many of you know, as an entrepreneur, as parents, like your schedule is also crazy. And it's like, I would like to don't we always find ourselves saying, if I have the time, or that would be great if, or all these things. And then if there's time left over, which is so bad, we have to stop living in, there's a book about it. That's like living in the gap or something like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And it's living in that if state of if this, then that. And especially as business owners, and just even if you're not a business owner in grooming, compassion fatigue is massive. And I was having that just yesterday with a 130-pound 9-year-old Newfoundland or Landseer who doesn't want to stand anymore. And it's just like, and so making that commitment to make yourself and your social life a priority, especially as women, is so crucial to our mental and emotional well-being, which then leads to physical well-being. And being able to say like, here's all the things that are going on. Here's the ones, no matter what, I'm getting out of work early, I'm going to this. And here's the ones that like, okay, then I'll allow a little for if this, then that.
Yeah.
But it's built in so that my other half doesn't drive me crazy because he's the only one I see outside of the dogs that I work on. So it's like, I need that. And what's interesting about the men versus women is that he kind of gets it because he's big on like supporting women, although he doesn't get it. And he's like, I need to be totally fine just in my game room all freaking day, no problem. And I'm just like, well, I got to do this. 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 And then I got to do this. And I'm like, I need other humans.
Sure. Yes. Yes. Especially if you're an extrovert, that's a thing. But I think the biggest thing that I've learned with Chris as a person and Chris the business owner is that Chris the person needs time to herself, things that make her happy, things that make me feel good, exercise, good nutrition, things like that. Otherwise, I cannot operate at my best. And even though I'm an extrovert, there are days I'm tired and I don't want to talk to people. But if I have taken better care of myself, I can push through and really do and show up for people in my best self, because there's nothing worse than burnout.
Yeah.
If you just keep going and don't give back to yourself, you will exhaust and burn out, and then you'll have your productivity. Woo! Your productivity drops much worse, much worse than if you had just taken some small breaks to give back to yourself. So, and I've been there. In fact, I've had productivity burnout in 2024. So another lesson to learn, which we always are learning in business, but you have to take care of yourself. So, and that's different for everybody. When I first started health coaching, I thought it was the same. I'm like, you just need to drink more water and eat more protein and exercise. It's different for everybody. For some people, it's like, can we get 7 hours of sleep? That would make a tremendous difference in your life. For some people, it's like, hey, maybe you just need to, if you work from home like me, you just need to get out of the house, like you said, and go meet up with some friends or some gals or whatever. So what does that look like for you? Get really clear on that. Write it out. Talk to people. So like, I have these different exercise goals than I've ever had before. And I have a friend who's sort of achieving that at that level that I want to be at last night. So I texted her. I'm like, how do you do it? When? How many days a week? Like, what does that look like for you? Because I'm trying to figure it out for me. She's like, why are you asking me that? I'm like, I'm just curious because I want to see like how I can get there. So constantly learning, constantly learning.
Yes. And thank you for that.
Of course. Yeah. Hi, honey. Are you okay now?
We're still recording from home. No, Daddy just got home. So everyone's like, ah. Which will happen probably again in a second. So sorry.
No worries.
When from most of what I was able to hear through the barking, I think you just set up a perfect segue to, I was thinking right before the melee happened, you can't pour from an empty cup.
No.
And so often we try to do that all the time. And so as a health coach, I know I heard you starting to talk about that. That's a perfect segue. So what are some of the things that are your personal non-negotiables to show up?
Number one is sleep. I have to sleep. When I first started my business, I would work very late at night because I had little kids and I felt like that's the only time I can do this. And I sacrificed sleep. Going back, would I have done it different? I don't know. Because when you're a brand new business owner, you don't care. You're doing whatever you can to kind of get things moving. But I cannot sacrifice sleep, especially as I've aged. I'm going to be 45 this year. So I have to sleep. I have to sleep at least 7 hours a night. I prefer more. And I do that. So that's my first thing at the top of my list.
Did you know that there's a new study that came out that women, surprise, surprise, we need more sleep than men.
Shocking.
And they're saying rather than 6 to 8, we actually need 8 to 10.
Yeah, I get it. I'll tell you what, on the weekends, I'll tend to sleep about 9 hours, which I know sounds crazy, but no alarm. So my body sleeps. And I know that because I wake up around the 9-hour mark on the weekends, that's actually what my body wants. Can I give it that on a weekday? No, I got to get a 15-year-old up at 6:30. However, that sounds right. So yeah, sleep is number one because we need more than we're giving it in many cases. So that's one. Two for me is what I eat. My food is my fuel, 100%. I've been on that journey many, many years. I lost about 40 pounds more than 10 years ago, and I've maintained it. And this is the body that I best operate in. And so I have to feed it the right food. Um, and that takes time. So on Sundays, it's a little bit of meal planning for the week ahead, grocery shopping appropriately, and then cooking about 3 to 4 nights a week. We'll cook more, so we have leftovers, but we don't eat out on the weekdays. Even with kids, even with sports, we eat at home because that's what makes me feel my best.
Mm.
And with multiple businesses, 2 kids, etc., a dog, I have to put good in. So when you put good in, you get good out. So that's number 2, I guess. And number 3 is like who I am around. I know that's not a surprise knowing what I do for a living, but I need to be surrounded by happy, positive people. Luckily, I'm married to one, so that's very helpful. So picking a good partner, can't say enough about that.
It's just
And
so cute when you're out and about. I love watching you guys. From like the cute lovingness to the I'll kill you.
yeah,
Like,
no, we keep it real. We keep it real. I mean, half the time we're madly in love, half the time we want to kill each other, and I feel like that's very normal. So that's good that I picked the right person. But then like the friendships slash business relationships, the people around me are very important because this is hard. This is very hard. So we need to be around people who are motivating, inspiring. You never want to be the smartest person in the room, right? So I need to be constantly surrounded by people that I feel push me. I used to get kind of self-conscious, like they're better than me. I can't be around them. No, like now I'm like, what can I learn from them? How can I be like them? What do I need to do? That kind of thing. So I really am careful who I surround myself with and time I spend with them.
yeah. Um, so with that, there's one lady in our group that I had been meaning to. So one of the membership requirements of WINC is that it's not anymore, but it was that you had to have one-on-ones get together with each member, which was perfect because it forced you to get out and really network and really build these relationships, which honestly, without it, Christina and I are like best friends now. And
Yes.
we had tea and we're like, oh, you're okay. We're like the
Yeah.
same people, like, yay. And that
Yeah.
wouldn't have happened if we didn't go out. We would have just said hi at the meetings. But there's this one lady that we exchanged and we meant to, and I absolutely had exactly what you just that like that self-consciousness with. And I'm just like, man, like this woman is like Instagram perfect. She's always like just prim and proper, probably Gucci, Prada, all the things. And I'm over here. I'm lucky I made it. I've got dog hair all over me. Like, I'm just like,
Yeah.
supposed to hang out with me. I don't know, and unfortunately we never ended up getting together, but we're still trying.
Yeah.
But it was like that. But when you realize, no, we're actually all here for similar reasons and nobody's better than you or anything, like it's an even playing field. It's just the story that you tell yourself.
Sure.
And then another thing you mentioned, which is so true, what you put in your body is fuel. And us as groomers, most of us are like, hey, your dog's coat looks like crap. What are you feeding it? Maybe add some salmon oil to the diet, or maybe groom more frequently so we can get those skin oils going. Like we often are in a position where we talk to clients about nutrition, and we're over here sipping on Starbucks and maybe a couple granola bars here and there if we remember and if we get a break. It's very much like hairstylists where we're such hypocrites because it's like go, 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 go.
Yeah.
And it's so true. Like at one of the Beauty Boost events, I managed actually 2 of them. I talked to a couple nutrition gals or not, well, I guess nutrition, but they were more about like your hormone regulation and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is another big aspect of what you put in your body and how you take care of that, especially as we age.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I don't have the time to eat or meal prep. What can I put in my body? And she told me about very specific nutrition bars and stuff like that. And while I don't love the chalky taste of nutrition bars, I definitely have more energy and fuel to go. So obviously it's doing something better for my body. So
Yeah.
it's taking the time, like you said, to make those moments on Sunday, carve out the time, plan ahead. This is what I need for this, to really make that conscious effort. Like it's so huge. And that's one of the things we're trying here at home is like, okay, meal prepping on Sundays, same kind of thing. Like My stressor is I'm delegating my grocery shopping to Instacart, and sometimes that turns into micromanaging, which takes away from the entire point of it. So I'm learning to give that up with grace because I have other
Yes.
things that are far more of a priority to me than that.
Yes.
Like,
Listen, I do that too. I have been an Instacarter well before COVID, and I'm in my work smarter, not harder era, you
yeah,
guys. And I feel like we have to lean on systems like that or time savers. And you do have to give up a little bit of control. Everybody I talk to because I swear by Instacart, I have my groceries set through Instacart weekly. So I don't go to the grocery store. So I have that. If you have an hour of time to go grocery shopping, consider switching it out for meal planning,
mm-hmm.
picking out what you want to have for the week, and let somebody else grocery shop for you. So everyone I talk to about this is like, how do you let someone pick out your produce? You know what? I do. And here's the thing with Instacart. If the cucumbers, which happened last week, are a little too soft, I go in and I report them and they immediately credit me back.
Yeah.
And I decide is the cucumber worth partially saving or is it going in the garbage? I haven't spent any money on it. Now that messes up my cucumber situation for the week. However, I cannot put a price on how much that time saved me. And I will say this too, when I'm in the grocery store, I am like adding more shit to my cart that I don't need. I'm sorry that I just swore on your podcast. I
I
don't
swear all the time.
need,
It's fine.
yeah, I don't need chocolate covered pretzels in my cart, but if I walk through the store, I'm going to grab them. So guess what? Instacart has also saved me money and time. So anyway.
No, 100%. And I've noticed that too. And we've come to an agreement here that in my household, he has his Instacart order. I have mine because he's a snacker. I'm not.
Okay.
But of course, if it's around, I'll snack. And
so do you guys make a family cart where you share one order? Okay. Yeah, we do that too. Isn't that great?
It is. It's solved a lot of challenges because we both get hangry. And if he doesn't have his snackies, like I'm running on practically nothing half the time. And he's like, I need to eat 20 times a day. And he eats, God love him, he eats all the healthy stuff, which is more expensive. So it's like when I go grocery shopping, I'm like grocery shopping for the meals and stuff. And I'm really excited because I never cook the same thing twice. Sidebar, long time ago, I ordered a pair of shoes and they came with a year subscription to Everyday with Rachel Ray. I've moved all across the country several times. I now, no joke, have 2 stacks this large of cooking related magazines. And I'm like, life's too short. Let's make it fun. And he's like, I'm a man of consistency. I want that recipe again. And I'm like, that can happen. You know, maybe on your birthday, like let's cook new things. And so it's caused a little bit of a rift because I'm looking at my grocery bill going, I'm buying things like ras al hanout for one recipe. I'm going to make it. By the way, that's a $15 jar of spice.
Right.
And I'm watching the bill go up like that. And then I'm like, crap. Now I got to add all of this peppers and this and that. And I'm just like, well, that's another $100 for snacking. That lasted, 10 minutes. So we've decided, okay, you get your Instacart for your snackies. I'll take care of the household. Everybody's happy. I don't see those numbers.
Yes. But just taking the time to kind of figure that out, it made your life easier, is better for your health, right? So like, I will say like all of this gets easier as you do it. So when I sit down and try to pick out the meals we're going to cook for the week, like I get into this spot now where I've been doing it for so long that I know like these 2 meals share some of the same foods that I need. So like I can buy that and it'll cook me 2 meals and you get good, you get more efficient and better at it. And then it becomes like a no-brainer and it is not difficult. And I know in January, this is on a lot of people's minds. So hearing this, I'm hoping is very helpful for you, but planning out your week food-wise will save you time and money and give you more energy. There's no 2 ways around it. The other thing is I rely on quick things too and supplements, bars. I eat bars too almost every day because I don't really have time to stop in the middle of the day and have like this long big lunch. So I'll have a bar and then I'll do like some peppers with like a Greek yogurt dip and like some cheese and an apple. Like great. Easy stuff. This is not complicated. I'm not making this gorgeous salad. Would I like to? Of course. Is it realistic? No, it's not. So just normalizing some of that for people, I think is helpful.
100%. And especially as mobile, having a place to store it and all that,
Hmm.
I've started doing, I got a cute little thermos
Yeah,
that has a little compact spoon that goes in it. And because even that like 30 seconds it's going to take me to wash my hands, it's like, like I still, the dog is processing in the tub, but I've got to vacuum up all this hair and I've got to and then it's like, when will I eat? And so hand to mouth is so, so important in getting away of just surviving on coffee and integrating the right kind of bars, because there are good bars and there are crash
sure.
bars. You want to have
Yep.
what, like high protein,
Yep.
um, and just having that quick hand to mouth is so crucial,
Yeah.
especially for my industry. So I know that you, as a health coach, you also partner like with me as a groomer. I partner with Pottery, where I, because I'm recommending all these things to clients, I might as well get paid for it. And
Yeah.
for those of us who don't have the stock or the ability or the inventory to have a section in our retail area, we need to be able to like, hey, here's some extra income. So it's fantastic. It just auto ships to them. And so I get an extra side of income from that. I know you partner with at least one company, and I think it's like the largest in the world or something.
It's
Um,
pretty big. I'm not sure if it's the largest, but it's pretty big. I've been with them for 10 years. Yeah.
wow. Yeah. So you've seen a lot of growth, because I know my personal mentor, she started working with this company probably about, I think it was during COVID. And so I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. And honestly, I really enjoyed it. And I kind of let it go when I met that one, and we're like, we're going to go out to dinner and we're going to make meals. And so like, I kind of let it go, but we both have different fitness goals, which by the way, if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't work out, I don't have fitness goals, um, you need to, because our job is extremely physically demanding, and it's not about getting buff or losing weight. It's about maintaining. That's why I have a groomer yoga course you can buy. Like,
Yeah.
we bend and twist, even though there's a lot of courses that are like, hey, here's proper ergonomic ways to groom. We still do it. I do it all the time. I am bent like this. And then I'm like, oh, my chiropractor would yell at me, and then I reset, and I have to make those mental adjustments. So making sure to really, prioritize your care of your body is so important. And since we're talking about nutrition, tell us a little bit about the company that you work with and some of your favorite go-tos.
Yeah. The company's called Isogenics. So they're doing business in the US, Canada, Mexico, but other countries all over the world. And I started because I was clueless about nutrition, a mom of two small kids, and did not have time to eat healthy. That's what I told myself, which that was my reality and fine. And I learned about being able to supplement and needing more protein than I was giving myself, but needing it quickly. So I started on shakes, which I had never drank a shake in my life. And I know people are a lot more educated on this than I was 10 years ago. But I'm actually drinking one right now. So high protein meal replacement shake, not a protein shake, a meal replacement. And I was like, oh, that's genius. Like, you're telling me I could throw water, ice cubes, and some powder and have a full breakfast. And that's what I started doing. And it felt a lot better and was losing weight and whatnot. So I always recommend them for people who are like, I want to eat better, but I don't have time. Now, this is not my 3 meals a day. This is my breakfast, a bar for a lunch, and a couple other random things. A probiotic. We like their sleep spray, um, adaptogens. I learned a lot about adaptogens from this company. And so I'll recommend them to people in those cases. And it's a great way for me to, yeah, like have an extra income. But I really very much feel aligned with this company. And that's why I've been with them for 10 years. So,
Alignment is massive, and I appreciate that a lot of groomers are starting to kind of look into that. And oh, don't let me forget burnout, because you mentioned it earlier. Huge trigger word in my world. But it's so true. Just like, when we're looking at different brands of shears or different shampoos, which right now is a huge controversy because one of the biggest shampoo manufacturers in our industry just got bought out. Ingredients have been changing and people are noticing a difference. So now people are like, okay, let's find something else. And finding a company that really aligns with who you are, how you operate, especially if you take my How to Build a Strong Brand course. or go to that class, it is so crucial for you to, everything just streamlines. Everything just feels natural and effortless. And when it's something around a whole lifestyle, and I don't think in my industry, we talk about lifestyle enough. Like your lifestyle is, fit, health and wellness, community, and it's just a more enriched life. Like that's your lifestyle. Ours is very like, people think of like cute and cuddly and fun, but it's actually a lot of stress, a lot of emotional and physical taxation because of compassion fatigue. Not every pet that walks in the door is in the best condition, and not every pet that walks in the door is nice. And so it's a lot of that, which takes a toll on all these things. And especially in the groomer world, I mean, brand loyalty is not that big. It really isn't. Like there's a couple where it's kind of starting to become, and it's brand loyalty because not only is it affordable, not only does it do the results that you want it to achieve, but it is also you like the spokesperson, or you get along with like you, especially with social media, you're like, oh, that made me laugh. I completely relate to that. Like, yes. And I think the more and more we start focusing on living and working, especially if you're creating a business, so many groomers go out there and start a business. They think, okay, I need a logo and they don't take the time to really carve out and be like, what's the end game here? What kind of clients do I want to pull in? And it all starts with being in alignment. And if you are like, I really hate grooming Shih Tzus and all I get are Shih Tzus, like it's at odds with you. And so the more you're like, you know what, actually I love grooming golden retrievers. That's the thing. And you start focusing on that. Suddenly you get these unicorn clients and all of this. So when you can cultivate not just your business and your brand, but your lifestyle together in something that's in alignment, like that's huge. And I will tell you, Isogenics, from what I've seen, it does align with my brand, like both my business and my personal, because Club Posh is a little bit fancier than Cassondra, so like we're two separate personas. Cassondra would like to be as fancy as Club Posh is. So there's that. And I tried the meal replacement shakes, which were essential for me when I first launched my business, because even though I wasn't really grooming, I had no time because it was all like building and all of that. And one of the things I liked is I've tried a lot of replacement shakes before, and they all have that like leftover taste. Isogenics didn't really have that. And I love that they came with a book that was like, oh, here's some other kind of things, like add some peanut butter, add some cocoa powder or whatnot. And that's what I love, because it not only enhanced the shake, made me more full, but it also got, well, Isogenics doesn't really have that taste, but it just kind of, it was a good mouthfeel. It was enjoyable to make. I felt like I was doing something. And I was just talking with our friend Christina, and she just told me that they switched over. There's a whey option and a non-whey option, which I was a little disheartened when I ordered it, because I was like, oh, it's whey. And I was trying to get away from that. So they do have, if you have alternative dietary restrictions or just preferences, they do have the non-whey version now, right?
Correct. Yeah. Plant-based and whey version. So our whey is undenatured, which is much better on the gut and belly. But yes, I mean, really trying to make it so that we can cater to everyone. And all of these are gluten-free too, which is very important to people nowadays as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you mentioned something about adaptogens. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I don't think enough people know in general.
Yeah, they're such a hot topic. And it's funny because they've been around since the 70s, but low key, no one knew about them. And then I would say within the past 5 years, they got very popular because they are botanicals that help your body better adjust or meet you where you need to be, make you feel better, make you feel more calm, have stress affect you less. That's the biggest thing too, right? Is we have stress hormones firing off in our body all the time. Like something bad is happening, and really it's just like, okay, I got a rough email or whatever. So adaptogens can help your body feel better And, when your stress is high, we tend to choose the wrong foods, actually gain more weight, don't sleep well, and it's just like a vicious cycle. So, taking adaptogens once a day, and they're such a small amount, so you can take it liquid form, powder, you could throw it in a shake, can really be a game changer for people. And I found that to be true. So, love them. Can't say enough about them.
Yeah, that is definitely something. I mean, even though I'll take 5 minutes to just woosah in the salon if I need or whatnot, it's definitely, like you said earlier about raising a kid. It's a village approach, like not just one modality.
Sure.
If you're bringing on one because you don't want to take on all at once, which is why New Year's goals tend to fail, because we're like, I'm going to be a brand new person
Yeah.
at midnight. No, you're not. But like incorporating a little of this, a little of that, a little of that is so huge. And I'm pretty sure that because healthy eating's been, it's been a way of life for me more or less for a while. I'm pretty sure adaptogens are going to be my next foray because of the additional stress of being an entrepreneur and trying to balance. So my word for 2025 is streamline. And
I
like
love it.
you, is my phrase is a Marie Forleo quote: "Simplify to amplify."
Yes.
Love her. So because I have these multiple businesses, it was causing too much stress, too much chaos. So it's like, what can I hone in on to do better and build on that, while the other stuff also has its place and is running efficiently, as opposed to just like all these things all over the place. But in order to do that, I need to get my shit straight too. So,
Sure.
With adaptogens, you said it can be like a capsule, it can be a powder form. Is that something you could just easily just add into your shake?
Yep.
Perfect.
Some people pour it into their morning tea. I wouldn't put it in coffee. I think it'll change the taste too much. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do it. I mean, I keep 3 shot glasses in my fridge and I take a shot of it in the morning, like I'm at the bar,
Love
but
it.
gonna feel much better.
Without the hangover and the guilt.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. So I keep it cold in the fridge and take a little shot, have my shake and my coffee. That's my morning routine. And then within an hour, I'll try to have like a big jug of water. So
Yeah, that's the other thing that's the forgetful thing. And
yeah.
it's so funny because I even bought, knowing that I'm bad at it, I even bought one of those half-gallon, I think, containers that has the line like every hour, every 2 hours. And it worked for like the first couple of days. And then I got one day that just completely blindsided me, and it lives on top of my fridge. So I believe the next step for me, knowing who and how I am, is setting alarms on my phone.
That's it. That's what has always worked for me. But I will say that when you're in a job or in a day where you cannot go to the bathroom all day, you can backload or front load your water to make sure you have easy access to a toilet.
I love that you said that.
I don't want to push water on people who can't drink water because they can't go to the bathroom. So if you're like grooming dogs from 9 to 2, it is okay to start chugging water at 3 when you're home. Like, let's be real here.
And so one of our other friends, Francie, she's not just a physical therapist. She's like a really big health guru as well. And every time she speaks, I'm like, yes. And one of the things she mentioned to me is because I mostly drink my water at night. I get home and I'm like, glug, 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 glug.
Yeah.
And she said that it's actually, studies have recently shown that if you have a higher water intake in the evenings, something about you're able to maintain weight better. And there were a couple other benefits. I'm like, yeah, those are great, except for the early morning peas that I have to do.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, but your body will hold it. And honestly, the early morning peas are good. And that's actually why I started doing it a few years ago. Grooming aside, I'm like, I'm not a morning person. I'm all about the 5 a.m. club, but man, is it hard to get me there. But if my bladder's like, it's happening, okay. So I drink a bunch of water before bed so I can get my ass up, go do the things so that I can have that morning time for myself, so that I can go ahead and like fill up my cup before.
Yeah.
So so it's kind of like a double entendre for me, where it's like, well, that does that, but also I just haven't made the time to chug water.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I know there's a lot of information out there about when what time of day to eat, drink, all these things. But I've been coaching for long enough to know the reasons why people aren't doing the things that they're supposed to be doing. And so I am at the point now where I'm like, we need to figure out what works for you. So if you want to drink water from 3 to 7 p.m., but none before 3 p.m., okay, at least you're still drinking water from 3 to 7, right? So you got to do what works for you. Especially that I learned that when I started working with shift nurses. I would have nurses that would be like, I work from 11 p.m. until 7 o'clock in the morning. And everything I read about health says you're not supposed to eat at night because you're supposed to be fasting. But I work. So they have to adjust their schedule. They're still gonna, you can still feel your best no matter what your schedule is like. You just got to figure out how you're going to do it.
I love that. You're so true. So, when you are coaching somebody with their health, what are some of the questions? Because you just said like you're kind of getting to know like, okay, what's your schedule like and stuff. What does it look like to be coached by you? Like, how does that initially start?
I have a very thorough intake form in Google Drive, and it just like, let's get to know the situation. Like, really, it starts with like, what do you want to have happen? And always painting the picture of how will you feel when you get there? And then we can work backwards. And then it's always like, what do you eat? When? How much are you drinking? Are you on any medications? How much are you sleeping? Do you exercise? What's your life like? What's your schedule like? It's a holistic approach. Obviously, no two people are the same. And so for me, coaching is different in every situation. I mean, like I said, I have seen things that I hear very often from people, but no two people are the same. And I believe that you can custom create a health plan for anyone. And I also believe that you really have to start with making 1 or 2 changes at a time, preferably one. If you get too much, you will quit. How many times have you said, I'm going to eat better and work out on January 1st? And then on January 4th, you're sore and hungry and you're like, screw this. And you quit. So I'm all about like small changes a little bit at a time, then add something on kind of thing. So
it's that compounded effect.
Yeah.
We're just talking about it at the New Year's thing last week about if you can do 1% better each day, by the end of the year, you'll be a brand new person. Even though and that's easy because it's like, oh, 1%, like, okay. I love that.
Yeah.
So going back to burnout, obviously nutrition, hydration, that all plays a big role in it. But what are some of the big things that you've noticed in terms of burnout? Like, let's just start there. Like, how do we get to burnout?
Neglecting self and putting other things first, other people, business, work, and really ignoring signs of stress. For me, when I've experienced burnout, I am ignoring my stress. And I actually start to see that in relationships with people. Like I'll get snappy. My email tone is a little bit different than what it would be. And so if you're real with yourself, you are noticing when you are starting to go down the hole. But really it's stress. It's that constant tenseness in my body, inability to fall asleep as quickly, and making decisions that I wouldn't normally make. Like, I'm stressed, I'm going to have a glass of wine to calm down. Or again, going back to like being snappy with people. So you notice it. It's just when it starts to get more and more prevalent that you have to take a step back and say, okay, what's going on here? What do I need? And what tools do I have in my belt to help me kind of feel better and slow the train down from full burnout?
Yeah, I've actually, so funny enough, this one type of planner that I have that I've been using for going on 10 years now, at least, Law of Attraction Planner. If you're interested, check it out. I do not get anything from this affiliate code, even though I tell people about it all the time. I should, but if you want it, LOA15, Law of Attraction, LOA15, discount code, you get 15% off. So sometimes if you change that to 20, you get 20% off if that code's still running, but the 15 is like been there for years. But in it, it has everything broken down by the half hour, and then it has habit trackers and this whole goal planning worksheet, which is what I do every New Year's Eve. So if you don't want to take my guided course, which is entirely blown up and added to from that, you can just go buy the thing and do it yourself. But it has like a habit tracker, a water taker, and it also has suggestions. Like it's got this whole emotional frequency scale on it, and it recommends to track your emotions. And admittedly, I don't do that enough, but it's a really, really good idea. And I'm kind of doing it more with the 5-minute journal, which I just started a few weeks ago, where in the morning I'm talking about the things that I'm grateful for and what would make today great. And then in the afternoon, I'm talking about what were the highlights of the day and something else. So it's sort of a different way of me tracking my emotions.
Yes.
To get a good idea of like, wow, I thought I was experiencing life like this, but actually I've been a raging bitch and very ungrateful. So yes.
I just started doing this. This is a different book, but I have never tracked my emotions before. Never. I just started. It's called Rate My Day, and you literally fill in a color, and there's a 5-color scale. And so it's so true, because that's how I start to notice when I'm heading in that bad direction. And if your colors are all blue and purple, which mine are not, it's been a good year so far.
I love that. Neurodivergence is like, it's becoming more and more prevalent as people become aware of it, and the grooming world is filled with it. And to have that. And the other really great thing about that, more so that than actually the planner that I use is, are you familiar with the Seinfeld method?
No, wait, maybe I've heard you talk about this before.
Yes, I did at the presentation.
Yes.
So, for those of you who don't know, the Seinfeld method is based off of comedian Jerry Seinfeld, who, before he was who we know him today, he was like, okay, I want to be a better comedian. I got to write 1 joke a day. And so to track that, he bought a wall calendar that had the whole year on it. And I don't know if it was an X or a check mark or whatever, but he marked off each day that he did it. And what often happens with us, we get all excited about a goal, but if it's not entirely aligned with us, or even if it is, life happens, we get burnt out, and then that goal starts to take a back seat. So in tracking it, what happens is you see this giant red X each day that you're doing it, that you're like, aha, completed. And your brain likes the dopamine hit of that satisfaction of like, did the thing. Okay, I'm awesome. And then you have to be real with yourself, and you can lie to other people. You shouldn't, but you can't lie to yourself. And even if you do go ahead and make an X on the day you didn't actually do it, you're going to look at that. Your guilty conscience is going to take over. And so it actually gamifies whatever goal you're trying to achieve. And the goal no longer becomes the goal of writing jokes. The goal then becomes, I can't miss an X, because that blank space is pissing me off. Yeah. And so to do that with our emotions, I love that. I'm going to have to go look at that book now myself, because I think it is because I saw that had a whole long list. Yeah. It's easier. Whereas mine is like each week is a different page. So if I'm like mentally resetting and not tracking my emotions consistently, I forget to do the thing.
That page is a whole year. That's the whole year.
Oh, isn't that crazy? Okay. That's awesome.
So, I mean, for me, I think burnout can be over the course of many weeks. And so in this case, like I can see, okay, I've been blue for like a while here, or blue, yellow, whatever. Those are my colors. I gotta like rein this in and figure out what I'm doing here.
And so if you are a salon manager or owner, tread with caution, maybe gauge your employees, but that might be a really cool thing. Like it's kind of like the airport bathrooms, like rate your experience, press the button. But that might actually be a really good thing, because a huge thing, and one of the big reasons that I decided to start the Unlimited Groomer and start speaking, kind of related to burnout, but mental health in general, and a lot of things not talked about in salons. And I've heard way too many horror stories of the ultimate bad happening. Let's face it, when we're at work, those people are the people we spend most of our time with, especially if you're a full-time, because it's not your family, it's not your best friends, because you're working 30, 40 hours every single week with these people. And to be able to use that relationship for good is one thing, but like to also have things go completely unnoticed, which is easy to do. So even if you don't have like a psychology degree or something like that, that could be something that could be fun, I know it sounds kind of hokey and like tacky, like a reward system or whatever, but that could be a really, really good tool for just managers, shop owners in general to have, so that way we can kind of gauge that. Now, of course, yes, people can be dishonest and whatever and fake it, but like, at least it's another resource that we can have to make sure like, hey, I'm noticing a trend here. Maybe, do you need me to switch up the kind of dogs you're getting today? Or, kind of play around with that to help adjust schedules and adjust needs. I'm not a firm believer in this whole new wave of like, it's great. We're talking about mental health, and it's great that we are making adjustments to everybody's situations, but it's also maddening coming from somebody who was raised, oh, you have feelings, we don't care, you have a job to do.
Yeah.
Not saying that that's right either, but like, I'm caught in this like juxtaposition of frustration of like, okay, your needs and everything are important, but also you're here to work, so let's figure that out. So it's just another tool to be like, okay, you come from a different generation than I do, you see things differently, how can we make things adjust so it's a win-win for everybody? Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
So you've tracked it. You've identified, oh shit, okay, heading towards burnout. Now what?
Yeah. I need a break. I need a break. So if you can't take a break, we have to take mini breaks. So it's whether it's like a 15-minute every day, like just sit on the couch or sit in a corner somewhere and close your eyes, or get up 15 minutes earlier or whatever. And then when you're not working, what are you going to do to rest, relax, or give yourself self-care? And I'm not talking about a bubble bath. Like, this is not self-care for everybody. Sitting in a bath sounds horrible for me. That's not for me. Doing a craft, horrible to me, but maybe that's your thing. What do you need that you're going to like just check out and let your body kind of calm and reset and rest a little bit. And then if it is an appropriate time to take a break, take a couple of days off and do whatever you want. Get your kind of sense of control back, write it out, clean your house, whatever that is for you. And then I think figuring out what systems are going to help you so that you can kind of make sure this doesn't happen again, right? So a tracker like this, a journal, an accountability partner, getting a coach, getting a meal planning system going, like what's going to help you. It's probably sleep. I always go back to sleep. Like, how are we going to be able to sleep a little bit better, different, whatever? What do you need so that you can prevent from happening again?
So many zingers right there. I want to just take a clip. I have to find a VA. I want to take a clip of everything you just said and just like loop that. That was so good. Like, one of the things I just started implementing with my other half is when I come home, because he's always home before me, I set an hour timer. I tell the nest, I can't say her name or else she'll listen to me right now.
Yeah.
But I tell the nest, like, set 1 hour timer. And that is our buffer zone, because usually what happens, especially if I have a long day, he's so sweet. He's got dinner already made for me. And we both want to like talk about our day and our stuff. And I want to talk about all the cute dogs, but I also really want to shower. And what I've realized is I'm depleted. And then he wants to talk about money or this or that. And I'm just like, first off, I either completely check out and I'm like, while I'm death scrolling because I'm just trying to unwind.
Yeah.
Or, whatnot. And so in that hour, it's up to me to be more conscious of like, you have an hour that is all yours. And that's not just for a bubble bath. That's not just for the shower. That's a necessity you have to do. So be wise with this. Take that time, but then go sit and just stare into space or doom scroll or whatever. Like, check out. Like,
check out. Yeah.
Please check out. And that's, we only just started this, but I've noticed that's helped me stop my doom scrolling throughout the day when I have time, because that I'm sure is another sign of burnout. You're just like, I'm doing all the things and then this, and it's gotten to the point where I didn't even realize my eyes, if I'm not physically grooming, my eyes are on my phone. And it's while the dog's processing, while I'm eating, while I'm driving, like all
Yeah.
the time. And it started with like, well, I have to make this post. Then it was, oh, well, I have to answer this client's question. And they just answered and da, 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 da. Even though I set these boundaries, that temptation to be like, well, I'm not answering a client text because it is past my work time, but I'm on social media and somebody commented, so I might as well answer that before I forget. And taking that time to also silence my phone when I am not working. When I'm home, my phone goes on silent. So that way it's only if I think about it, I'll pick it up. And that has been huge. In the past week alone, our communication has, and my focus and my presence has grown immensely from that. So yeah, like really taking that time, do it. Like I tell people all the time, know thyself. It's fine. If you have a weird quirk or whatever, if it's your thing, it's your thing and you need it.
Yes.
Unapologetically.
Yes.
So
that's it. All of this is know thyself. And if you don't know, there's a little assessment you can take online. You can just get a pad and paper and write out what you want your life to look like tomorrow, not next Monday, not next month, not next year. What do you want now? And that's different for everybody. And so you got to figure out what you want and then backtrack from there. Systems that will get you there. I love that idea. I actually heard somebody else say that on TikTok. She's like, we have little kids and we want to like make sure our relationship is more present in our life versus just taking care of our kids. So they do a once a week date night at home because they don't have the money to go out or the time or the babysitter or whatever. So they put their kids to bed at 8:00 and once a week they have like 8 to 10, no phones are allowed, no TV on, and just like hang out. And I love that. So, you know, what can you do that's going to work for you? That's going to help you. So I got to figure out what that is.
Yeah. We, same kind of thing. And it's so funny because I like to be free and not a lot of structure, but turns out I actually thrive.
Yes.
To have structure because I need that sacred Sundays. It's just us. I need that hour to myself. And it sounds so like, calendar, it goes off. But like to be your best self, you really need to stop neglecting yourself and the relationships that are important to you.
And honor your time. Okay. I'm the same way. I'm like, I don't want to clean my house on Wednesdays. Like, let's not, because that's how my mom was growing up. It was like, this is what we eat on Mondays. This is when we do the chores. This is when we do laundry, like real specific on the day of the week. And I became an adult and I was like, I'm not doing that. But listen, it is honoring your time much better to do these things. I know like this whole talk is like, I got to do this, I got to do that. But really when it boils down to it, it's about like putting better boundaries around your time and what you're getting out of that time.
And that's massive. Like you look at the people who are massively successful and I've got a couple of friends that are like, they're doing this all the time. And I'm like, how did you do all that in one day?
Yeah.
And it's just that, like, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day. People didn't have an overnight success. If you have a certain monetary or lifestyle goal, it's the hard work. It's the rest of the iceberg under the water you don't see. And it is that routine. It is that boundary. It is that diligence. And that's what builds habits. And especially in a neurodivergent society like mine, it is very much like that is the last thing that we want, which tends to be the thing that you require. And I'm not going to say need because need is built in lack. Like that's a requirement of success. And that's, again, not just work success, not just monetary success, but life success. Going through life saying, I did all the things I wanted to do. I had meaningful relationships. You can't have them if you're all over the place, health-wise, mental-wise, like all of that stuff. So,
well, and just like we're saying with goals, creating one small goal. So if you are like, this sounds terrible, I would dare you to try it one day a week where you say 1 day a week, I'm going to kind of schedule out my day so that I do this for myself, this and this when you're not normally doing that and see how it goes. Maybe it's a Sunday where you're like, okay, I'm going to meal prep every Sunday at 11 a.m. And then I'm going to do something nice for myself or something with my partner or whatever, take my dog for a walk consistently. Try it for a month, see how it goes.
And one of the things I really like about the Beauty Boost business is that we have an accountability call every month.
Yeah.
And it looks like simultaneously through the Halo app, we're also having like just
check-ins,
in general check-ins, which I flip in love.
Good.
And so one of the things that I'm starting this year is I'm actually doing a virtual cafe.
Yeah.
And every week, a lot of Friday times, some Saturday times, but I plan out my week ahead of time. So with my grooming, for those that are on my wait list, I cut my calendar off on Saturdays for the next week so that I can say, hey, you know what? I have an opening here. Let's fill that. Because I'm in different zones, different days of the week. So I want to make sure that I'm safeguarding that, but then also filling in the gaps if I can. And then the office work goes to the wayside, the website development, all of that stuff goes to the wayside. And so I was like, I really need more structure. How can I do this? Okay, this is what I'm doing. And so it'll vary each week, but also I have my Fridays consistently to do this and build the other things. And so I'm starting a virtual cafe because I know other people also need that. And basically what it is you can do drop-ins. I think I put $10. I think I'm going to change it to $5 just to make it more accessible for people. And it's literally a minimum of 2-hour time, and it's Zoom. You have your camera on, everybody's muted, and we're doing it because for me, I am most productive when eyes are on me.
Yeah.
I have this self-conscious thing, this narcissistic thing that like people are watching me. So if I'm out at a cafe, I'm going to be far more productive than I am at home because there's all the things and nobody's paying attention. Nobody's guarding me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't really want to go to cafes now because either I don't have the time or the transportation, or they're not as comfortable as they used to be. It's all like sterile because they're like, oh shit, people are hanging out for hours and they only spent $4. Like we need more. So it's colder. It's not as comfortable. And so going to cafes isn't very enjoyable now. So I'm starting this virtual cafe where it's like, I don't care where you are. If you want to drop in, you can do the drop in for that. I also have a monthly subscription, and basically you just get on the email list and it's like, hey, this is the schedule for next week. Do it if you can, if not, whatever. And it's that kind of form of like silent accountability.
Sure.
To just get stuff done. So I'm really excited to start doing that. And honestly, I decided to start doing that because I need it.
Yeah.
So
that's when the best things start, honestly.
Yeah. So oh my gosh, so many nuggets.
Good.
Thank you so much for your time. Any other final thoughts that you want our listeners to know?
Oh gosh. If you're in business, just make sure you're taking care of you, even if it's just 5 minutes a day, whatever it is you need. Because then you'll show up so much better for the world, and you will inspire other people to go after their dreams too. So good luck, and thank you for being here.
Absolutely. And you have definitely inspired me, and I'm so excited that we get to work more closely together moving forward. For anyone who is interested, once I figure out how to get all this published, I will have in the show notes, as they say, all your links and whatnot, but just where can people find you? Where do you hang out? If people want to work with you, how do they access you? All that kind of stuff.
You can find me on Instagram. I think that's where people go the most. So my personal page is Chris in Buffalo, and my business is the Beauty Boost Buffalo on Instagram.
Perfect. And that's Chris, CHRIS.
Correct.
In Buffalo.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. And I hope you all enjoyed this. Go check her out. Go send her some love. And we'll also have the other links to her other affiliate businesses so you can access all things Chris, because I will absolutely be doing the same. So have a great day. Until next time.